Taker, what can you tell us about your Hell in a Cell match against Brock Lesnar from No Mercy in 2002? I feel like that match doesn't get enough credit. This is the match where you bled out 10 gallons of blood, LOL. One of the craziest visuals I've ever seen in wrestling. What's it feel like to lose that much blood? Thanks for your time.
I did lose quite a bit of blood.
Oh, she put a picture on here.
Oh, did she? Can I see
yeah.
it?
Yeah, you're looking pretty rough.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it looked like you've been through the ringer on there.
Mm-hmm. That was, as you can imagine, a extremely physical match.
Just by the looks of this picture, yeah.
The match for that time period, that match warranted that kind of blood. It was that I think I went away. It was the next day at TV where I ended up I don't know if I had hurt something or whatnot, but I took some time off after the next TV. But yeah, working with Brock inside in a cell is interesting too. I mean, because he's so athletic, especially that's his first time in.
Yeah,
and he was young and explosive. He even then he had good instincts, but he didn't have he wasn't nearly as polished as he was when he came back. His wrestling IQ and acuity was so much better when he came back, but what he didn't have then was he made up for in athleticism and raw strength and energy and just viciousness. And he had those intangibles that it's hard to teach people. Aggressiveness, viciousness, be a closer, a killer. He had all that, just instinct. I mean,
it was just a natural.
It's ingrained. Yeah, it's a natural thing. It was ingrained in him. And to work against that character, that's the American Badass version. But still, you had to have that, especially in Hell in a Cell, which I had already by that time had several Hell in a Cell matches.
Yeah.
So he had to bring it, and he did 100%. It was. I think it's underestimated as far as when you start talking about
Hell in a Cell
matches.
Yeah, it doesn't get brought up very often.
It epitomizes what Hell in a Cell was created for. You know, 2 men enter, 1 man leaves kind of deal. And that's exactly what happened. Heyman was out there with him. I think Heyman even got color in that match. Everybody got color in that match.
I feel like you two guys were built for that type of match.
Oh,
you know
absolutely.
what I mean? Like those two characters.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I was the American Badass there, but I still had all the origins of the original Undertaker, and that little bit of that mystique was still there. And he was just he was a killer. I mean, he was just that guy that had that mean streak and viciousness, and just he was an animal.
Did you like wrestling Brock Lesnar more as Undertaker or more as the American Badass?
Either one, really. It didn't matter because it didn't matter. I don't think it mattered to him.
Yeah.
He was always aggressive. And that was the key for people to be successful working against me, is they had to be aggressive.
Yeah.
And a lot of times people would be intimidated by the character and everything, my history and everything else, that they would wait for me to tell them to, okay, come on, let's go, bring it. I never had to tell Brock that. Brock just, he was pedal to the metal.
Did he know how to slow down though?
No. His timing, everything was good. No, everything was good.
Yeah.
But just that I didn't have to tell him when to be aggressive, when to be that killer animal kind of person. He just knew, and he had that, and it didn't matter which character it was.
Yeah.
I think he probably throttled it up even a little bit more when I was in that original Undertaker character, or the darker side of it, because just of the supernatural part where I'm going to set up and do all that. So he had when he had me down, he didn't let up. He didn't glad hand. He didn't look around. He stayed on me. And that's what my character always, if you're going to get sympathy on it, it has to be that way. And it didn't matter if you were a big guy or a little guy, you had to be tenacious. And if you got the Undertaker down, you had to be able to keep him down.
Yep.
And if you didn't get that, it's going to be a long night at the office. It's going to be hard.
And every time you get him down, try to pin him. Try to beat
Absolutely.
him. Try to beat
You
him.
just try to beat him. Try to win and get away, and you're going to be good. But if you were timid in any way, man, it'd make it a hard night, because it's me having to try and pull that out of whoever I'm working with, and I never had to do that with Brock.
Did you ever wrestle anybody as American Badass and as Undertaker, and they worked differently with you as one character versus the other?
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't give you a name, but people were a little different. Obviously, there was more liberties that you could take with the American Badass, because I was just a big biker kind of guy.
You're humanized as that character, so like you could do things different with that character,
right,
than you necessarily would with the Undertaker.
Yeah, I mean, you work off of what I'm doing too. So and they were really polar opposites. Although I mean, I maintain a little bit of the mystique just from all the years prior, but the American Badass kind of took the shackles off of me of what I could do creatively, and that's what I needed. I needed that break, and that.
And it kind of feels like maybe it almost took an edge off of your opponent too, to where they feel like they could feel like now they're just wrestling now I'm wrestling a human being, and I can wrestle this person maybe like I typically would. Just any other wrestler at that point versus the Undertaker.
Yeah, just the thing was that I was so big and agile and all that. They had to be tenacious. Like my better matches were with smaller guys.
Yeah,
Sean, Kurt, those guys, and those guys were tenacious. They were vicious. They got me down, and they realized that this doesn't happen very often. Yeah. So we have to take advantage of that. Kurt was great at it. He's another one that had that. I think it's that a little bit of that amateur background that comes boiling up to the top there.
You just have this natural aggression about you that's always going to be there, but you know how to control it because you've been in such this Olympic wrestling or this amateur wrestling background where you have to be able to control it, and you can't show those emotions.
Yeah, and if you don't, then you're probably going to be a short-lived career.
Yeah. We're trying to have a 20-year career here. We're not trying to have a 20-minute career.
Yeah, absolutely. But I enjoyed. Although my record against Brock was not really good, I think I only beat him once in a pay-per-view. But I always enjoyed working with him.
I think he's one of the few people that has a winning record against you. Like he has the best winning percentage against you. Yeah,
by far, I think.
Yeah.
And then I loved working with Kurt. Man, he was just a machine. We have some matches in the can that I don't think get talked about nearly enough. For storytelling, of more so than anything, is just because there was a huge size discrepancy between me and Kurt, and just him whittling and whittling and whittling and whittling and trying to get me off my feet and then when he finally did get me off my feet, just turning into a Wolverine and honey
He's
badger.
Another guy that just never needed a belt and really never even needed to work, and he could still.
Oh, he's so entertaining.
I mean, he could still draw money just knowing that he's going to come out at some point and talk on the mic. People would show up.
That was the gift he had. I tell people this all the time. Like, for somebody with his background, those shoot wrestlers, take it really, really seriously.
Yeah.
And there's very few times that wrestlers that have been really successful in the amateur ranks turn that around and become as successful as Kurt was as a professional. And that's because he got it.
Yeah.
He got the business, he understood it, and he could go backstage and do a vignette or a pre-tape or whatever and make himself look like a complete doofus idiot. But then when you went to the ring, brother, I'm telling you, you had to have your boots laced up tight because that dude could go. He was a machine.
Yeah.
And it just, between the two of having all of this personality and this willingness to put himself out there and look silly and dumb, you knew it, ding, 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 brother. It's go time, and you better have them laced up tight.